why has this console generation been so bad? I don't know if we got some gamers in the chat. I'm not a huge gamer. I grew up on video games and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't consider myself a crazy gamer. However, maybe the reason why I don't game as much anymore will be revealed in this video. Maybe subconsciously I experienced some of this shit. So let's see what happened to the game industry, and let's see if I relate to any of it at all.
So my buddy Vic, who is not much of a gamer, perfectly captured everything wrong with the game industry right now in one text. The dude is 38 now, played everything from the late 90s into the 2000s.
That's crazy. That's literally the game that I played. Dead Space. What the fuck? That's so funny how that's the first game they showed, bro. Hey man, tune in for my Dead Space streams. Them bitches be lit.
38 now, played everything from the late 90s into the 2000s when he was a kid. Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, GTA, Skyrim, God of War, Halo. In 2013, his life got busy and he just quit gaming and hasn't picked up a controller since. Got these texts from him recently. Yo dude, getting back into gaming, just got a PS5. So what are all the new bangers I need to play? His comment made me laugh way too hard because like, what is there, dude? Like really, what is there? Tell me one truly incredible game that I had to buy a PS5 or an Xbox Series X to play. And if you say Astro's Playroom or Woke Spider-Man 2 or God of Woke Ragnarok, just know that you're coping. All of those games were mid and you know it. Similarly, if you say Starfield or Indiana Jones or Forza Horizon 5, you're coping as well. None of the new AC games have been good. Far Cry 6 was awful. The last generation of good games was the PS4, Xbox One generation, and we all know it. Vic continues on. I want something that shows off the best new graphics. Dang, seems like there should be way more games. Where are the badass games with a story like Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell? Guys, do y'all want to tell him or should I? Gaming sucks now. Like, what happened, guys? We had everything and we somehow lost it. How do you go from the PS2 generation, arguably the greatest of all time, to the 360 generation, arguably maybe the second best generation of all time, to the PS4 360?
Hold on, bro. Let's talk about it real quick. The Batmans were fire. Dead Space is right there. There we go. What else? GTA, of course. The Naruto's are alright. Assassin's Creed, of course. Forza. Yeah, bro. FIFA. Damn, they don't even got 2K here? Crazy work.
Generation, arguably maybe the second best generation of all time, to the PS4 generation, which still had a few bangers, to the absolute disaster of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Boys, consider this video therapy because we need to just be honest about how bad it has been, really. So in this video, I want to talk about what we've lost. I want to talk about why this has happened.
Damn.
And finally, I want to talk about how we get back to gaming's glory days. But before we talk about that, is the Red PUBG beautiful
I'm good
as
on
a huge
all that
one
shit, bro.
later to run 2070 that only isn't co-worker. All right, back to the video. So getting back to Vic's point, guys, when I was growing up, you wouldn't believe the amount of hype around new games. And it was like the game developers were just like us. They were obsessed with delivering the best game possible. Halo 3 on launch became the greatest selling game of all time. When we got it home, it of course had a huge legendary single player campaign that you could play solo or with up to 3 friends. Multiplayer, of course. Forge was in there, and a completely new theater mode that let you save clips of you playing, and that had never before been done in 2007. Damn. Meanwhile, Halo Infinite comes out in 2021, and they say, "Hey, sorry, we ran out of time. All you get is a single-player campaign on launch, and you can't even play co-op. Oh, but here's a bunch of gay armor and women's day armor." Guys, the total budget for Halo 3 was $60 million. The budget for Halo Infinite was literally around $500 million. And that probably includes marketing, but still. Like, how did we get here, boys? Do you remember when companies got you hyped about how good a game was going to look, and then you had to buy the new console, and it looked amazing, and you were like, yo, when it came out? Like, I remember waiting in 2009 in the Walmart parking lot for Modern Warfare 2 to come out, to just rush in and get my copy. We were so freaking excited about that game, and it was amazing. Metal Gear Solid 2 is a great example of buying the new console to play the new game. MGS2 looks so much better than the first one. Incredible story, incredible gameplay, and you had to buy a PS2 to play it. Same situation with MGS4. You had to buy a PS3 to play it. I haven't played a single game this generation that feels like it justified my purchase of the new box. Truly. I mean, we got slightly higher resolutions and some higher frame rates, but I didn't buy the new box just to play a slightly higher frame rate.
Right.
When I got a 360, I remember being blown away by the graphics on Gears of War and Halo 3.
Facts.
When I got an Xbox One,
I remember my 360. What's that game? Ninja Blade, bro. At the time, that shit was different, bro. No, Ninja Gaiden? I don't remember, but that shit was crazy.
I was absolutely blown away by the graphics on AC Unity and The Division. When I got a PS4, I was blown away by how good Uncharted 4 and Ghost of Tsushima looked. My PS5 and my Series X haven't produced a single game that has blown me away from a graphics standpoint. Think about this, guys. All the truly amazing single-player games came out on PS4. We literally had no reason to buy the new console other than, like I said, maybe higher frame rates. Red Dead 2, Witcher 3, Bloodborne, Spider-Man 2018, God of War 2018. What has really been exclusive to the new hardware generation that has been worth a damn?
Damn.
Starfield? Really? Launching at 30 frames per second, and Skyrim and New Vegas are way better RPGs anyway? Forbidden West is just you playing as a fat lesbian with a big Ubisoft open world
What
of
the hell?
garbage to go around and do. Alright, so I hope I begin to establish just how bad and disappointing this generation is. But now the question is why? Why has this console generation been so bad? Now, I'm basing this off of a lot of research that I've done, but I think the reason this console generation is so bad is, number one, the best talent has aged out of the gaming industry, and they're quickly being replaced with amateurs and women who are bad at their job. Let me paint a picture for you. In 1993, John Romero and John Carmack created probably the most influential game of all time, Doom, and it was 13 megabytes big. That's about the size of one MP3 file today. Andy Gavin, the co-founder of Naughty Dog, in this short documentary explains how they had to hack the original PlayStation 1 hardware in order to get Crash Bandicoot to run.
Damn.
In 2007, the legendary programmers at Infinity Ward used some kind of sorcery to get Call of Duty 4 to run at 60 frames per second on the original Xbox 360. In case you forgot, almost nothing ran at 60 FPS on the 360. The guys at Infinity Ward single-handedly created new methods of rendering graphics.
Damn.
They use this thing called LOD, or Level of Detail Management. Basically, it means stuff further away does not render, and things that are immediately on the player's screen do render. They also completely changed rendering pipelines, shader code, and memory management at every level of development so that they never dipped below that 60 FPS. Sometimes I will boot up Red Dead 2 and just sit there in awe at the level of detail and animation in this game. Boot prints in the snow, the beautiful way wolves spin out and splatter blood on the white snow when you've shot them. To show you the generational divide in new programmers and old programmers,
Oh,
go compare
shit!
Red Dead Redemption 2 with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Shadows is full of DLSS,
What's
upscaling,
good?
blurry-looking, terrible animation, and it's poorly optimized.
Welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the stream. We're just having a combo stream tonight, reacting to some stuff. Right now, we're watching a video called "Why Has This Console Generation Been So Bad?" So if you're a gamer, you might realize that, you know what I'm saying, games have gotten pretty bad. No, I'm not doing music reactions right now, but yeah, we're just reacting to some other shit.
Whereas Red Dead 2 is a steak dinner. This is a whole other topic, but file size bloat has become ridiculous as well. The new Call of Duty is like, what is it, 100 or 150 gigabytes big? All of the incredible innovations in video games I've just talked about were primarily done by groups of straight men working together in what would later be called frat boy cultures. You can get mad about it all you want, but groups of men, time and time again, have always made the best video games, full stop. And look, I say this as someone who has a beautiful wife who I love, and I have 2 daughters who I love. I will tell my daughters one day, you can do anything you want, but if you want to be better than a man at coding video games, you're going to have to be twice as good. So how did video game companies lose this frat boy culture that created such good video games? It's my understanding that a couple things happened here all at once. Number one, the Me Too movement came after the frat culture of most video game studios and started hiring for diversity instead of talent. It began in 2011 and hit a fever pitch in 2017. By 2020, basically all video games were trash now because it wasn't men working on them anymore. What you get when this happens is a bunch of women and minorities who have no freaking clue what they're doing and lack talent, and then they get promoted for these diversity quotas. Think about it. You took all those...
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Listen, I'm not co-signing what bro's saying. I had no idea what this video was gonna be. I had no idea what we were gonna get into. Bro just sounds like he's venting at this point. You know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to hear him out and listen, because at the end of the day, I'm a type of person who, like, I love to, like, look at the world, look at how things go down, look at the cause, and then look at the effect, right? Look at something that happens and look at how it ripples down and what actually ends up happening. You know what I'm saying? So there may be some truth to what he's saying. That's why I'm trying to hear him out. But at the same time, it just sounds like bro's throwing a lot of jabs, bro. It just sounds like bro's going a little crazy.
Dudes who learned assembly to make Crash Bandicoot, and all the guys who coded horse testicles shrinking in the cold in RDR2, and you told them they were bigots and you fired them. What did you think was going to happen? Oh wait, let me guess. None of these new empowered black women actually know how to code in COBOL and C++, do they? Interesting. By the way, go watch my Ubisoft video about this if you haven't yet. My buddy who worked there from 2011 to 2021 corroborates exactly what I'm saying. They put women in positions of power in 2017, and then downstream in 2020, you start to feel that in all of the massive flops that Ubisoft had. AC Shadows, Star Wars Outlaws, Skull and Bones, all because they started hiring for diversity rather than merit. The second big reason for this is that the hiring spree of 2020 was apparently when a lot of the old heads left the video game industry to make room for talentless, gender-fluid Gen Z art students. It's pretty well documented that during the lockdown...
Bro, this guy just... Bro, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. This shit sounds like a troll, bro. Like, I can't take this dude seriously, bro. The way he just saying shit is fucking hilarious, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I can't cap, bro. This dude is hilarious, bro.
This gender-fluid Gen Z art student.
Oh my god, bro.
The video game industry to make room for talentless, gender-fluid Gen Z art students.
Oh my god,
It's pretty
bro.
well documented that during the lockdown of COVID, a lot more people started playing console games and mobile games. Companies like BlackRock invested billions of dollars with ESG money in these companies because they thought the gaming trend was permanent. In order to get ESG money and tax breaks, a lot of the people hired weren't hired for their talent. They were hired because they were gay or black, etc. So now imagine these companies' surprise when 2022 rolls around.
See, man, I ain't gonna say, I don't like this shit, bro. Again, bro, like, this guy's just taking a lot of shots, and us, you know, we just getting a lot of whatchamacallit. We catching strays, bro. I don't like this shit, bro. But I hear you, because I do agree that sometimes, like, when you start hiring for diversity, me too, I ain't gonna lie, this is something that I've experienced in my own business, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I need to hire people for certain jobs and certain things and whatever else, and sometimes I decide to hire somebody who might look like me because I think that we might be able to, you know, conversate better, we might be able to relate better, we might be able to just, like, get along better and get the work done easier. But at the same time, sometimes when I notice that I give people that look like me or whatever opportunities, I also see that these people sometimes, like, they take advantage of the opportunity because of the connection that we have. And they're like, oh, this guy is not as serious. I can cut these corners. I can do this. I can do that. And it's like, nah, bro, like, I'm giving you an opportunity, but I'm going to treat you just like the next guy. You need to perform. Because if you don't perform, I'm going to replace you. You know what I'm saying? So I hear it. I feel it. I understand it.
And people go back to their pre-pandemic gaming levels. But the problem is now you've hired a bunch of women and minorities who aren't nearly as good at their job as the people before were. It's also pretty well documented that a lot of the old heads simply began to age out of the video game industry or either left or got promoted in 2020. That was certainly the case with my friend at Ubisoft. And I don't blame them for leaving the video game industry after 20 years because apparently it's very grindy. There's a lot of 60 and 80-hour work weeks, and it's just a tough industry to stay in. So a new Gen Z workforce who frankly doesn't know what the heck they're doing replaced the people who coded Roller Coaster Tycoon assembly, for example. And I'm throwing this meme up on the screen here. This meme is freaking hilarious. I always say Red Dead 2 signaled the... this meme is freaking...
Damn.
Hilarious. I always say Red Dead 2 signaled the end of an industry and the changing of a guard. Truly, because we know a lot of the people who worked on that game, including some of Rockstar's founders, left after the game was shipped. Now think about this younger workforce that's coming in. They perhaps know Unreal Engine well enough to make some things move, but they don't have nearly the coding chops or built-up knowledge that's
Wait, this the whole team? I ain't gonna lie. If you just hearing what he's saying, right, and you take a quick scan of this group, bro, he might be on something. He might be on to something. I'm somebody who, like I said, I believe in cause and effect, and I don't believe in echo chambers depending on the situation, right? If you got a room that looks like this, that only has the same type of people, same type of whatever, it's like, how good can you really get? You know what I'm saying? But to be fair, again, just like in the look at this. This is a group of the same people, and apparently they were excelling. So I don't know, bro. I guess it just really depends on the situation, cause I don't know, man. I don't know if I would trust this group to be making the best game. You know what I'm saying?
Move, but they don't have nearly the coding chops or built-up knowledge that someone who's been.
Because again, like you gotta think of like the targeted audience too. Like, let's be realistic. The gaming industry is majorly male dominant, right? Like, it's mainly guys who are playing the games that were displayed there in XYZ, those Red Deads, the Dead Spaces, the Star Warses, etc., etc. So it's like, if you're creating a game for the younger version of yourself, you would know what you need. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy was mentioning, like optimizing the game so that, you know, the storage is not too high, making graphics better, XYZ, right? These guys would understand what a young boy would want in their game, versus these people, I just feel like, you know what I'm saying, they might be shooting in the dark and like estimating and like, you know, guessing what they think somebody might want versus actually knowing what they want. So that's another fair point.
But they don't have nearly the coding chops or built-up knowledge that someone who's been coding games for 20 years does. I've dabbled enough in game development to know that everything is kind of templates now. You can make some pretty impressive stuff without even knowing how to code, and it's not good. So basically, all of the institutional talent and knowledge at these game studios was slowly drained, and now the people working there simply aren't good at their jobs.
Holy.
Number 2, the success of mobile games made console games no longer the focus.
Hold on. Let's talk about that last point real quick, because that's actually interesting. Like, with the fact that, like, again, like, this is something that I can speak on too with the way that I work, right? Like, the fact that there's so many shortcuts in certain things, right? Presets, just packs that you can buy. For example, even with music, like when I'm making music and stuff like that, after I record and I'm getting into the mixing and mastering of my stuff, a lot of my stuff that I use is presets, and presets can only take me so far. I don't understand mixing in and out, so I can't custom design certain things. If there's a custom issue that I want, a very specific niche issue that I have, I can't go in and fix it from the inside out because I don't understand it that well. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what this guy's talking about. When these guys have been coding for 20 years, they got the repertoire, they got the back end, they got the history, they got the experience to be able to do certain things. Whereas, like, even though AI and presets and shortcuts are advantageous in the sense of like speeding up the process and making things quicker and just more efficient and maybe beneficial and maybe cost efficient, right? You don't get to do certain things and add specific details and just be as careful as you would had you known all the skills to be able to like go in and do things, you know, meticulously, right? So that's facts.
The industry. Check out this chart that depicts game revenue the past 50 years. In 2001, all console gaming combined made about $8 billion. In 2011, it made $40 billion. In 2021, it made another $40 billion. So console gaming is what we call a zero growth industry. Let's check out mobile. In 2011, all mobile gaming combined made about $8 billion. In 2021, all mobile gaming made about $100 billion.
Jesus
If I
Christ.
gave you $100 to invest somewhere and you wanted a definite return on your investment, you'd have to be an idiot to not invest in mobile games. So this is a problem for console makers, that there's basically been zero growth in the industry the past 10 years. So what will...
Yo, chat, what mobile games are being played right now, though? Like, if they're making 100, what did they say? They said billion or million? What did they say? He said B or he said M?
Save us. There'll basically been zero growth in...
That's what I'm saying, billion. So, if they're making 100 billion in 2021 or whatever, what games, bro?
Oh!
Angry Bird? Is Fortnite mobile? I know Fortnite made hella bread, but I don't know if that's mobile. Interesting.
The industry the past 10 years. So what will save us? Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, and Herman Hulst, head of PlayStation? New markets will save us, of course. What Xbox and PlayStation have primarily been doing with the Series X and PS5 console the past 5 years is trying to retain us older gamers while also trying to attract new, younger, mobile-focused Gen Z and Gen Alpha audiences. What games did they hope would do this for them? Absolute slop, of course. Hey, the kids like Overwatch, right? Let's get a bunch of woke millennials to make a slop Overwatch knockoff that probably nobody wants to play. Call it Concord. Let's make some miserable game called Fair Games and then cancel it. We need girl gamers. Let's make Star Wars Outlaws. This'll go over well. What about the 3% of the population that's gay, audience? This is really going to change things for us. Let's release a gay samurai game. That's going to solve everything. All you need to do is boot up Xbox Game Pass to see hundreds of new slop games, survival games, and MMO games, all targeted at children and woke people and made by ultra-woke developers. Seriously, boot up Game Pass right now. Astroneer, Trailmakers, Throne and Liberty, Black Desert Online, South of Midnight, The Gunk.
Bro, that is a bro.
Every
Xbox hates gamers now. This is a crazy sentence, bro. Like, Jesus.
thing is woke
Yeah, this content creator got a bone to pick with someone, bro.
survival slop, cozy slop, MMO slop, and indie game slop. This is exactly why Microsoft just laid off 9,000 people and Sony laid off like 3,000 people the year before that. They're at war with their audiences. They don't want to freaking wake up and face the fact that straight men are primarily the people who play console games. It's not gay people, it's not kids, it's not women, it's just straight dudes who play consoles. So you guys need to start making games for straight men again. So
I ain't gonna lie. I don't care for the whole straight part, but that's what I was saying earlier with the men, bro. Like, gaming is a predominantly male sport, or like a predominantly male industry. So, I can agree there, partially.
The reason why this console generation has been such a dismal disappointment is because Sony and Xbox's attempt to expand their user base to include a younger, gayer, and more diverse demographic. And they realized two things. Number one, this audience doesn't freaking exist. And number two, console gamers will always primarily be straight, normal men. Seriously, have you ever met a lesbian who plays console games? No, they play Candy Crush. Also, when you look at 10-year-olds right now, do any of them play a console? No, their little brains are rotting right now on their iPad and their iPhone. The betrayal that us gamers have experienced at the hands of Xbox and Sony can still be reversed, but I think it's going to be too little too late. In trying to appeal to the non-existent modern audience, they didn't realize they would lose us. I just think about what Vic said. Where are the games, man? Instead of Metal Gear Solid 6, we got a fat lesbian hoe in Horizon Zero Slop.
This guy's
Instead of Sam
tripping,
Fisher, we got
bro.
some sleepy girl boss feeding her cats and a black man having multiple gay relationships. Instead of based Master Chief, we got LGBTQ skins and Women's Day armor. Instead of Marcus Phoenix, we got pro-abortion, feminist, lesbian Kate Diaz. Instead of continuing Jen's story in Ghost of Tsushima 2, we got some ugly chick nobody wants to have sex with. Sorry, Vic. Yeah, games suck,
What?
don't they? All right, last point. This will be quick. Number 3, every single-player game has gone woke, and every multiplayer game is full of
I ain't gonna lie, I gotta disagree with that one, bro. You a freaky ass nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I gotta disagree with that one, bro. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, a ugly girl that no one. I feel like I've played games where the main character was a girl and it was a good game. Y'all know Mirror's Edge. That game is lit. Yo, the attraction of the game does not come from the fact that I'm trying to hit the main character, bro. What does that have to do with anything, bro? Like you was spitting a little bit, but then again, you taking a lot of tangents and you going left field a lot. That one, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna have to hit a hard stop there, bro. You tripping on that one, man?
Don't they? All right, last point. This will be quick. Number 3, every single player game has gone woke, and every multiplayer game is full of microtransactions.
Facts.
A lot of gay game developers come along and see one successful game, and they think that the market has a demand for 20 more of these games. Look at DC and the Wonder Woman movie that came out in 2017. It was a decent movie and generally tolerated by male filmgoers. But man, that movie's success unleashed an absolute flood of girl boss superhero movies that the market had no interest in. They forgot that superhero movies are 90% watched by men, not women. The same thing happened with games. Last of Us comes out in 2013, Life is Strange 2014, Night in the Woods 2017. Up until 2013 or so, games were very male, very masculine. They were about blowing shit up, being heroes, big characters, attractive women, funny stuff. And I truly think gay game developers came along and said, ooh, look, here's a demand for more games like Night in the Woods. Not really, guys. Just because there was one semi-successful game doesn't mean there's a huge market for that kind of thing. What happened in 2020 is like 10 developers decided all at once that there was a huge demand for Life is Strange type slop. And there's just not, and there never has been. So you have all these retarded games coming out that literally nobody wanted. Dungeons of Hinterberg, The Gunk, South of Midnight, Tell Me Why, Lost Records, Flintlock Siege of Dawn, Commonhood, Magical Delicacy, and Grease. And there's a bunch more like this on Game Pass, but I'm just giving you some examples. All of these are what I would call girl games, made by gay studios full of trans men. And there's just no audience for them.
This
all right,
guy
finally, I want to move on to talking about
he's about to hit the one point that I was gonna get into, bro. Why you keep it to the end, bro? Right when I was gonna dip, bro.
Transactions. And a lot of the current issues with MTX we can see, of course, going back to Fortnite. Do you ever log into Gaypex or Gay of Duty or Dead by Gaylight or Mortal Gay Bat? And it's like literally...
Alright, bro, you got it. You got it. Let me see what the comments is saying, bro. My PS5 is just a PS4 emulator. Damn, everything is dying. Gaming, movies, music, clubbing. The older you get, the more things seem to be the same old. Damn. Sad-ass comment, bro. Oh! Worst part is I can't even disagree, bro. I can't even disagree. Alright, y'all. How do y'all feel about, whatchamacallit? The video game industry in general, what he was talking about. I ain't gonna lie. I do agree with some of that. Like, I remember growing up, like, it was such a common thing for, like, my cousins to come to my house or friends to come over and we just, like, throw on, like, a video game or whatever. But nowadays, it's like video games used to be, like, a communal thing that brought people together, you know what I'm saying? I don't really feel like that's the case no more. Like, niggas don't really care. Oh, shit. Damn, I just seen another very good video. We're gonna have to get into that. But, yeah. What was I gonna say? People don't really care for video games no more. Like, if I were to call up, like, like back home, I would call all my homies over. We'd come through, play FIFA. Like, we could run FIFA tournaments for hours, bro. I'm talking 1v1s, 2v2s, betting money, like... We would do that for hours, or 2K, same thing. Niggas never really did 2v2s in 2K because 2K is too, like, compact. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, like Madden, whatever. Like, we would just run that shit, bro. Nowadays, it's not the same. The hype's not there. The intensity's not there. The games are not as fun. It's like, I don't know, bro. It's just you know what I'm saying? I'm not really into like developers and all that stuff, so I never really noticed who's making what and how things are being produced and all that other stuff. But that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
All right, yeah. I'm getting gritty on these niggas. I'm getting gritty on these bitches. Here we go, now they talking again. Yeah. I'm getting gritty on these niggas. I'm getting gritty on these bitches. Here we go, now they talking again. Yeah. I'm getting gritty on these niggas. I'm getting gritty on these bitches.